I'm continuing here to give you all the tools to dismiss critical race theory as so much rubbish, systemic rubbish. Check out my other videos posted below on critical race theory. In any case, this theory collectively convicts an entire racial group for metaphysical crimes, by which I mean crimes that have actually not been committed. In other words, the cornerstone, the foundation of the critical race pop jurisprudence is the following. If white, you are guilty if you do, guilty if you don't. Flouting or ignoring Western judicial philosophy, critical race theory says you are racist without having committed racism, which is like being a murderer, robber, or rapist without having murdered, robbed, or raped. Unpacked racism, as deployed by critical race racists, doesn't survive contact with reality. It has a very loose relationship with the real world. You might say critical race theory is more symbolism than realism. Here is what I mean. Take critical race feminism, a subspecies of critical race theory. I had written about the symbolic nature of this junk in a 2001 column for the Ottawa Citizen in Canada. Yes, I was onto this postmodern junk back then. A young man followed up on that column by writing me a personalized tale of desperation, truly sad. He had the misfortune of drawing a skyscraper in an art class. His creation was attacked by his oppressor, for being a phallic symbol. Look that up. A phallic symbol offensive to women folk, meant to symbolically assert his dominance as a male. Examples like this are why I say that critical race theory is symbolism, not realism. Here, a delusional teacher sees faces in the clouds. She projects some evil onto the innocent drawings of an innocent student. This nonsense exists purely in the heads of demented women and their housebroken, mostly white, liberal male accomplices. Symbolism is not reality. As they are deployed today, the dreaded racism and sexism constructs are based entirely on the idea that reality is determined by the allegedly predetermined power relationships in our society. Whites in particular, white men and the remnant of the civilization their ancestors built, are to blame. Blame for what, you ask me? That's very easy. For everything. A black man looting, for example, then, is not a crime with real victims, but rather an acting out by the victimized, who is reacting to historic oppression, a response to the machine. A theory, of course, any theory, is always an abstraction. It's removed from reality. A good theory sticks to reality, describes it, and predicts it. A bad theory superimposes a new reality on real events. Critical race theory does one worse. It actually rapes reality and loots it. An example of the critical race-created tension between theory and reality unfolded on a program called Seattle Refined, a Como News television show, where a local professor, privileged, even claimed that the words riots and protests are social constructs imposed by the power structure on poor people of color. So, for his riots, our teacher claims the status of a social construct, a theory, nothing more. But for poverty, this African-American educator chose the status of reality. This is how teachers are messing with a student's natural logic and understanding of the real world, which is why I say that critical race theory rapes reality. Our teacher earns a fail on reality testing and reason. Both poverty and the George Floyd Democrat race riots of 2020 ongoing are realities. Poverty, black and white, and the race riots are manifestly real. What a lie then, and an insult to reality. And reason is a theory of racism that conveniently denies the reality of riots, but cops to black, but not white, poverty. Critical race theory opportunistically privileges only a spectrum of reality. With critical race theory, the left imposes meaning on the real world as a function of its own will to power. The left then bullies those who don't go along. And it is this rot that the right has failed to reject, root and branch, and we must.